All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And we'll start with our roll call.
Helen Carey, Rhonda Ankeny,
Keith Cecil.
Mary Pack.
Maybe if they needed to call you to
I don't
just
know.
yet.
I know. That's what I had to do.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so next order of business is we need to do the oath before.
They will administer, yeah.
Yeah, I can administer the oath. Okay,
Ready?
for our new member, right?
Yeah, all of you.
Okay, oh, all of us. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, and then Stephanie's got one for you guys to sign afterwards. So
Okay.
they
The
raise-
corrected one?
The correct one,
The correct one.
unless you also want to be on the redevelopment.
We're good?
Yeah.
Sorry, he and I just saw,
Nice.
so sorry.
All right, if everybody raise their right hand, repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Helen Carey,
Do solemnly swear that I will uphold
do solemnly swear that I will uphold
the Constitution of the United States,
The
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Indiana,
the Constitution of the State of Indiana,
and the ordinances and regulations of the Town of Bargersville,
and the ordinances and regulations of the Town of Bargersville,
and that I will faithfully and impartially perform my duties
And that I will faithfully and impartially perform my duties
as a member of the Bargersville Parks District
as a member of the Bargersville Parks District
of the Town of Bargersville, Johnson County, Indiana,
of the Town of Bargersville, Johnson County, Indiana,
to the best of my ability, so help me God.
to the best of my abilities, so help me God. Oh, very good. Thank you very much. All right, now we'll circle back, election of officers. It's appropriate time for that. Do we have any nominations for president?
I nominate Keith Cecil to continue as president of the board.
I second.
Any other nominations? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I guess I can vote for that.
You agree.
And for vice president, I would nominate Rhonda Ankeny to continue as the vice president. All in favor? Aye. We have a secretary treasurer on this board as well. Is that correct?
It's recording secretary, I think, isn't it?
Or is it not?
Just recording secretary.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we're good.
You just need to confirm the appointment of Stephanie as the recording secretary.
You can, yesterday with RDC, they just had a consensus that I continue to be the recording secretary.
Yeah.
So I guess you can word it the same way.
You can just, you all just say, we agreed, and just shake your heads. That's consensus, by consensus.
Agreed.
We'll keep you.
Very good. So then at this point, I would like to invite Dan to discuss our next order of business.
Actually, all
Next
four
order of
items.
businesses.
Actually, all four items.
Yeah. All of it.
Congratulations, Mary. I just want to pay recognition to Chris Wilson, who's our new Parks Director, sitting here on the second row. She will officially be starting a week from Monday, but she was kind enough to come in and spend a little time with us this morning. I'm very excited about having her come on board. I wish she could start tomorrow. Stephanie and I both wish she could start tomorrow. You have, I believe, in front of you a memorandum of understanding. It might be a loose document. That's the document that I have negotiated, for lack of better terms, with the seniors center group. Mary, for your benefit, the town owns a building just south of here. And for like 25 or 30 years, they just more or less gave it to the senior center and said, hey, you guys do whatever you want to do with it. When David and I got into it, that lease had expired years ago, and no one ever renewed it. Also, in doing some investigation, we found out they didn't have insurance on the building, and their 501c3 actually dissolved. It was not in existence anymore. So David developed a new lease for them, and the lease, when they were operating, they were renting it for income. So David developed a new lease for them. Council approved the new lease, and the new lease said, here's the lease, but you can't rent it anymore. Well, that didn't go over real well, because they claimed that was the way they paid for the utilities and that sort of thing. But they were pretty actively leasing it. So they were getting it for $1 a year, and I have no idea how much money they were making, but they were leasing it. Unfortunately, the town got a whole lot of bad publicity because it came across as though we were kicking them out. So we were never kicking them out. We were just modifying the lease. We can't lease it anymore. They couldn't. They refused to sign it. So over a period of a month or 6 weeks, I kept working with them, and finally the decision was made that the parts board would just take that building over and let the seniors use it every Thursday evening and the first Monday of every month, like they always have, free of charge. And we would pay, the parts department would pay all the utilities and stuff. So after quite a bit of a conversation to get them to understand exactly what that meant, they finally agreed to it. What you have in front of you is the result of those conversations, or the result of the understanding that we have with the seniors at this time. So we have taken that over. January 1st, we took it over. And I don't want to get ahead of myself here.
Not really taking it over per se. I guess it's more or less.
Our building.
Right.
It's town's building.
Right.
So we're operating, and we will be renting that building out for all sorts of different activities. That will be governed by Chris, basically, as the parks director, along with you guys. We actually already have one guy that has been renting it from the parks department or from the seniors for, gosh, a period of a couple of years on a routine basis. And he's a local firefighter. And I told him, I said, you continue to use it, continue to rent it. And Carissa has worked with him and has his schedule now, but he's the only one that is booked for that at this point in time. We're not booking anything else until well, we've said the 1st of February, but more importantly, until Chris gets here. We'll be developing rules and regulations, all sorts of things. So that is what you have in front of you, that memorandum of understanding. David wants to develop an actual contract for a lease agreement, whatever you want to call it, rental agreement, whatever.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
So,
It's always a good thing we don't know the lawyer's name.
yeah. So, I mean,
Using him.
He'll be working on that. I think we were planning on having that established and executed by the end of February.
Okay.
So that's that. In the process of that, I'm going to item D on the agenda now. You have in front of you, and Adam can answer any questions you have on that. I'll let Adam come up and explain what that is, but that sheet right there. I anticipate we have a a minimum $25,000 of money to put, of expenses put into that building. Building's not up to code. We had our building inspectors go in, our fire inspector go in, and there's a pretty lengthy list of things that need to be done. And you have also, I think, maybe you turn the next page, somewhere in there, maybe, a list of the improvements that I developed. And I developed those as short-term and long-term improvements. Some of those improvements are long-term because they're going to be pretty costly, specifically the handicap restrooms that we need to put in there. But Adam, you want to come up and better explain what transfer is?
Good morning. Nice to meet you all in person. I serve as the contract budget officer for the town, and as such, I'll put together your existing 2023 parks operating budget. So Dan was in communication with me regarding this item. We reviewed your adopted 2023 budget that the council opted for, and the monies to fund these changes and then this utility expense necessitated an amendment to the existing budget. We didn't contemplate this as part of that. So because we're so early in the fiscal year, we didn't want to approach council and ask for additional monies yet. So what we did was we reviewed and looked for areas where we felt that a budget transfer would be more appropriate. So the document you have before you, I believe, is this one, correct? Okay. This is an internal budget amendment form that effectively funds the building improvements out of an existing capital budget item that the Parks Board has. So the 25,000 would just be moved from your general infrastructure budget to fund the building improvements. And then we anticipated approximately $3,000 worth of additional utility expense in the year than originally planned. So we moved that from equipment repairs at this time. So this amendment as drafted does not increase the parks budget $1. This is literally just an accounting function to put it in the appropriate expense category. And then we'll track these throughout the year. And if mid-year or later there is
Structure's low or something.
Yeah, then we can approach that as an actual addition. But at this point, it seems like you've got the resources to just reallocate. So all that I think we need today is just direction if you're okay with these amendments. Ultimately, your actions then would get submitted to county council. They would ultimately be the ones that would be authorizing us to actually make these changes. But first, that is you.
Have we got close? I mean, is that pretty live, that 25? I mean, are you pretty solid on that?
No.
Okay, it's just total.
Yeah. The only, it's just not, it was one of those. One of the things I want to do is get the exterior doors replaced and to do commercial grade painted hardware and all that sort of. I'm looking at like $18,000 just for those two doors.
Okay.
Because we got to change the lock system and all kinds of stuff, because we don't want to be in a position where every time anyone wants to rent it, they got to come and see her to get a key, and she's got to make sure to get the key back and stuff. So we're trying to figure out some push button or some way that she can change the code, or whoever can change the code every day. So it's a pretty solid thing. So
I haven't seen it. I don't know if you've been looking at doors or not, but when we went the last time, I noticed, it was a solid door. I don't know how safe it would be if we just left it as a solid door. I think it would be very beneficial if it had a very small window, like perhaps that door right there.
that's kind of what we're trying to get, but I'd like to get the steel door. That's a steel door and a steel frame.
Yes.
Okay, commercial grade, and that's what I was working for.
Okay. But
They do have steel doors, like some of you may have if you have an outside door on your garage. It's a little bit lesser grade, but might still work too with a light or a window in it. We might end up doing something like that.
It just, it was like, felt like we were going to the biker's bar, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
The door closed. What's going on in here? You know, hope for the best. You open the door, you don't even know. You walk in and
See something before you
you
go.
don't know. There's nothing.
Part of that was the window coverings too, like those, like I feel like if that was more open too, it would be more light and like.
Those window covering, those blinds or drapes or whatever they have, those are all down now.
Oh, this looks like it's in place, yeah. I'd love to see it without those in there, yeah. Good. So,
Well, however I think that would be something if,
mhm.
I think by consensus,
consensus is fine. Yeah,
you're okay with
yeah,
this transfer.
yeah, because you're not appropriating any money or anything like that. It's, as Adam said, it's just a simple accounting transfer.
Thank you, Adam.
Yeah,
You're welcome. And I would leave you then with the first line on this is probably the most meaningful for you all going forward in your just annual planning and meeting agendas. So the original capital budget, let's say, for the park board out of its operating tax dollars this year is $180,000. So those were monies that were really unencumbered, uncommitted, available for new capital projects that the board can entertain. We've now committed 25,000 of that money for this initiative, leaving 155,000 for you all for additional project commitments and review.
Perfect.
But that does not include, we still have the construction cost money for the Park.
That's right. Which is a separate.
This is a step for uncommitted projects, or new projects. Thank you very much.
Thank
Have a good
you.
weekend, Adam.
Okay, so we got consensus on that transfer, correct? And so going back to that list
Mhm.
of capital improvements that I anticipate that are going to be necessary, as I just mentioned previously, one of the big items is the doors. Let me go back to the memorandum of understanding too. In the memorandum of understanding, I negotiated with them, they're going to leave all the furniture in there. Okay, all the tables, there's a list of all the tables and chairs and everything in there. They have till the 15th, which is next couple of days, to get all their stuff out of there. I did tell them they got a food pantry, they got a pantry in there. They actually cook in there for these meals on Tuesday or Thursday nights. I told them to leave their food in there and keep it locked for the time being. No one else has a key to it. But all the furniture in there, including the stoves, the refrigerators, microwaves, chairs, tables, all that kind of stuff, is all going to be left. Okay. They wondered how much we were paying for them, and I said, the free rent you've had for 30 years. I think that's a pretty good deal. So everything is in there after the 15th, actually becomes the property of the Parks Department.
Hopefully, will we develop a rental agreement, I think, for them
Yeah.
as well? Yeah.
That's what's contemplated in this, is that this is just, we didn't want to rush to get a lease done until we had Chris on board to make sure, she's going to be the one administering it. I've got leases for other clients that rent out facilities for weddings and things like that. That's probably overkill for this. So we need to go through and kind of parse that down to what's going to be appropriate. So we didn't want to rush to get that done, but wanted to make sure that they understood and were comfortable with the transfer. So this does contemplate that this is just the framework for what will be a formal lease agreement with them, or rental agreement, whatever you want to call it.
And Chris has some experience in this, so that's obviously a start phase.
Yeah.
If you look with me at the updates required, again, this is based on an inspection, a thorough inspection that we did. I've got a list categorized as the immediate category. And some of the things we've already done, we've already completed. Item 7 was completed, item 9 was completed, item 10 was completed. We had, Carissa is getting ready to order a new sign to put on the outside of the building. It will be something that's like this big, that'll be basically fastened right to the siding towards the main entrance of the building. Right now, Carissa has a temporary sign on the door that says if you need anything or you want to book it, to call Carissa with Carissa's phone number because she's not here yet. That her desk phone is. Then I said to her, Chris, once we know what Chris's desk phone is, number is, then we probably will put Chris's desk phone number on that, not her cell phone number, but her desk phone number on that sign. And we also have the sign right there that she's holding it up, which are two signs, and those will go at the alley entrance right here, and then over on West Street. So we're starting to identify it as and those will go. She could have had no care, but she loved that right. So we're working on all that kind of stuff, but we're kind of slow walking this thing because we don't want to get too far into it because Chris may have all kinds of other ideas and we will overlook her thoughts or whatever. She's the one who's experienced this, and I'm really excited she's done it. If you look at the immediate category, 2 acre stores, that's the biggest deal. I told you how much we want to work on 2 acre stores, so I'd like to end up having to go to something less than what I really wanted. Okay. That is a steel door. I mean, that is an example of what we might have in front of those 18 grand for those 2 doors. It's with electronic mechanisms that have to be on there to allow access, which is very important. We want that. So
it would be nice if the police could help to control that as well. You know, maybe it could be tied in with their security system somehow or something like that.
well, we might end up with that. Okay, for employees, cops, fire, all that. Okay, and then for the people who rent it, maybe a digital. I know Kevin Gilliger has been working on that. And he talks to whoever I get and starts talking about there's a lot of electrical, small, minor electrical issues. Because we are operating now. Which they're having to do.
The lease dates back to like 1980.
Yes.
More or less, yeah, and they just rented it for $1 and it just kept rolling and rolling and rolling. So, and then they did do a new lease sometime in the 90s, but I think,
1990, I think.
Yeah.
That's what it started.
and that's when it's just been basically a, kind of a whole on a year-to-year basis. So,
How did we get the building originally? Did we know, or?
the town built it, I think.
I don't know what it's been way before anyone in this room was around here.
We probably have it in our records somewhere in our basement.
They've really done a good job of maintaining the inside of it. You guys keep Kelly in there, and it's very clean. I mean, they've done a good job of maintaining it. It's got fairly new roof on it. I believe they paid for the roof. I think sometime over the period, they also replaced the windows on the outside of the building. Those are fairly big windows. They're a lot smaller than what they were. But I think they did replace the windows. Kevin told me that we did replace those doors back here in the door or something. They take the long-term ways, primarily this building totally ADA compliance. The main thing is to get the building ADA compliance. There's two small, I call them one-hovers, restrooms in the building. It's like something that you would do. Have on your kitchen for the guests. We gotta get maybe an ADA restroom. If I would want ADA restroom, two, probably more the way we'll be going, but that's a major cost because we're talking about possibly furnace relocations, we're talking about hot water heater locations, we're talking about knocking walls down, we're talking about it's a major cost. I postponed even thinking about that. I'll wait, this is just my idea, we can talk about it later on. And that building over and we'll be the one on the porch. Set up a little bit, which makes it sound. And also just dress up. It will be going on our website and social media. On February 1st, it's public. Long-term category is going to require us to hire an architect. A lot more expensive than what the minor things are. The minor things, the big bucks is our doors. We took over utilities on the 1st of January. So all the utilities are now running. There's 2 stoves, ovens in there that the senior ladies use to cook with on the nights that they're there. I don't see those lasting. I don't see when we get to our point of major renovation. I think we'll probably do away with those stoves. Anyone that rents this place for a wedding reception or for a shower or something like that, they're going to keep there. They're going to go there. So I mean, we don't need that. I anticipate probably we would have a microwave in there, this thing, that kind of thing. Similar to our kitchen here in our office, that kind of thing. Those cabinets are full of plates and pots and pans and all kinds of stuff. And I don't know if, I'm assuming they're going to take them out at some point in time. But like I told them, I said, not hurt anything right now. So, but we've got a lot of kitchen utensils in there. There's a drum set. On Thursday nights, they have a band come in and play. And the drum set, and then amplifiers, speakers, and things. And they didn't want to take those out because they'd have to carry them back in every Thursday. And they said, if you want to push them over the corner, for the time being, I don't care. But it's your responsibility, and we're not going to be liable for any damage to them. So when you develop, or ladies might want to mention that.
when the gas lines inside the building, that's just standard.
It's all part of that restroom, right, stuff, we would do all that at once.
But it's not they're safe, I should say.
They're all safe.
Yeah.
I mean, just as an example, they put, well, that's something else they did, they put a new hot water heater in there. And they put the hot water heater basically right in front of the electrical box. So you can't get the door open all the way, you had to get a breaker out. You can't have that, you know. So,
Furnace gas.
yes, ma'am.
Again, my only concern with this building is we've had an inspector look at it. The concern is if we're gonna rent it out, we need in good faith make sure that, no, it's a safe place for people to go.
It has emergency exit lights. Exit lights, it has emergency lights in it already. In case electricity goes off and someone's inside of it, it's full. That's all been done. Operating smoke detectors for fire safety, that kind of stuff, it's all okay. We just got to check a couple of smoke detectors because they're not hardwired. They would probably want them hardwired, just in the battery detectors. And the new doors will have panic hardware like that. And like that. So it's a good opportunity for us. And as it relates to what Adam was talking about earlier regarding the budget transfer, you know, I don't have any idea really how much money we're going to make on this. But there's going to be some income. There's going to be some income. There's going to be some expenses too. Yeah. I think they were paying, I think they were charging $75 to rent the place. Then they had a special rate of $65 for members. The membership's on $5 a year. So I assume we're probably going to stay in about that rate for, 4 hours of rental or something like that.
And we've got a cleaning staff that'll be able to take care of any regular thing. Would that be part of the rental agreement?
It will be part of the rental agreement. They have to clean it when they leave. And I don't want to speak for Chris, but there may be a damage deposit. No.
Yeah. Obviously, there's a damage deposit to cover things like that if things get broken.
A refundable damage deposit. You know, so. There's a lot to work out, but it's a positive thing, and it's another expansion of our park department and amenities that we're offering our community. And that's a cool thing. And I'm sure Annie's over here just typing away in the journal, so.
All the words.
But it's a good thing. But that's an update on that.
And I can't recall, I'm sorry, is there a charge to the seniors for these
No,
days that they'll be using it?
no. We can use it through.
And how long does that, before that, is that?
That'll be subject to a formal lease agreement. I'd say it's a year
I think it'd be
an annual agreement. And, part of it too was the contemplation. They're assigning all of this property to in exchange for that, going out and buying 11 8-foot tables, maybe, it does have some expense to it. That was kind of the contemplation too, is that they assign that to keep the rent at least for a year.
It was recognized as the senior center. Sure. And has been for years. And I was there a week. Today's right, not last night, but a week ago, I was there. There was the seniors. I didn't stay around and listen to the band, but they were cooking, they were getting started. There was probably 2 people in there getting ready for the evening. I have no idea how many people they have, but I was on a good night, they might have 20 or 25 assembly there, and one lady came up to me and she said, you know, she's, I've been coming here for 30 years. This is, you know, elderly lady, this is what I look forward to every week. You know, so I say to the guy, it's a routine. Unfortunately, there's a whole lot of people in Bargersville, a lot of seniors in Bargersville youth. We've got seniors that come from Franklin, the people that run it are actually from Franklin.
That could change.
Yeah. Oh, one other thing too, they asked me, they said, well, if our members want to use it, we don't charge it. I said, well, that's going to change. So,
Well, hopefully everybody can see this in the hands, because we're doing a lot of things to do it in a safe place, and we can all, you know, do it.
well, the seniors are happy. They're happy. Hopefully they'll stay happy. Go there, so, I think they're happy. But I did indicate that that might be a possibility. But they're happy. Yeah, we worked out a good agreement with them. And we have not been able to work out this agreement with them. They will shut down. They will have no choice to shut down. And we never wanted that. So, that's all I had, unless it was that questions.
On to the minutes. Next, 9. Still not in attendance, but we can. There's any questions on those minutes? Do we have a motion to approve the minutes? This is in the packet. Second, all in favor? The reason the budget is so large, because we weren't able to get it in time for the last meeting, if you recall. We held off, and it was going to be like a day late or something like that. So this is
It's for November and December,
2 months.
so you are caught up now.
Any questions? Sit down. I'll somehow, someone, and kind of go through how we're just laying budget out. I don't know what that looks like. Stuff like that. That's something we should do. Have a good person. But that is for your next meeting. That'll be great. That'll be great that we can spend. Might have a discussion. Okay, thank you. And now we have a chance to review this and questions on the budget. Do we have a motion to approve that? Budget, how do we need to approve that? We do, okay. Okay. I did have one question. So, with primary grounds, have we got confirmation that we're done with them? I mean, that's.
Not yet. Oh, we have?
They're done for this year. Yeah. So
We are actually in the process of, Stephanie is in the process of putting together a RFP, request for proposals for mowing and the maintenance of the parks at this building right now. So we anticipate probably in the next couple of weeks, we'll be getting that out to 4 or 5 more landscaper type people for proposals.
And then, I saw some utility expenses on, the roundabout. Yeah. We're not watering that now, are we? No. Okay. So I don't know why we would have any more expenses there. Oh, I'm missing something.
You don't have any more expenses there. That was the final spray. And then, I don't think there's any plans of getting in there, but if there was any of that kind of stuff, it was the final thing that Preferred Grounds would do.
Well, what I'm talking about here, this is Bargersville Utilities. We're
Bargersville Utilities, okay.
yeah.
So I thought
They don't, primary grounds, they donate that, we don't pay for it now.
you're right.
But that's part of a three-way agreement, this historic knowledge between the town, the county, and primary grounds, where they're going to place their signs in there in exchange for maintenance.
But as far as the watering, I'm assuming that's what that is. What other utilities would be on there? I mean, we've always paid for that to be irrigated, I know, in the past. I just don't know. If there's a leak or something that seems, or if that's the amount, I mean, it's small, but.
That's the way I look at it.
I'm looking at 69.45, but there's probably another one on the second.
If you look at the sheet that says expense approval report, those are the expenses that you need to approve that are getting ready to be paid. Okay? And if you look under Bargersville Utilities, I see one of the Bargersville Utilities roundabout.
Yes. Yeah, I've got a lot, there's 2 of them on there, and then if you go to the, like 3 days of that one is November, and then you'll see the one from December is the same thing. We've got November and December, so I was just looking at December. And it didn't go down, but. And maybe that $16.15 is just the activation that we have. I don't know.
I don't know what it is either.
Yeah.
I'll try to look at that. I will look at that.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, because that's always been a concern. We've always kind of had that question, never really had an answer. So why there's ongoing charges for the roundabouts in the winter months when there's obviously no irrigation going on.
I will look into it. I don't have an answer to that.
I mean, yeah, that could be it. That's okay, just.
Yeah, no, that's a good question.
All right, anything else?
Are you gonna motion?
Make a motion to approve.
All in favor? Aye. like our next meeting, let's get anything else, any other new business that we don't have on here tonight.
Is there any kind of update on that part? That, I see a lot of progress going on out there.
That part's gonna be pretty well shut down here because of the weather right now. But it's progressing very well. We're actually setting the transformer, I think, for the electric is there. I guess so. Next week, it's, let's see. Price for which is being for. Part of those one.
Okay, welcome. Just Friday, I mean, so we've already kind of set these Fridays, at 8:30. Is that still okay with you?
Sure.
Okay.
If someone could send me the calendar for the year.
I can do that.
Okay,
Yep.
great, thank you.
Excellent. All right, very good. Well, we have a motion I'll make a motion to adjourn. Give me a second. Favor? Aye. Adjourn.
I have stuff for you guys to sign.
Yeah,